everyone, welcome back to The Journey We Take. I am your host, Janelli, and today we are going to be diving into a topic I think that we all desperately need sometimes, and that is finding the clarity whenever life feels like a never ending circus. You know, those days whenever your mind feels like there's 100 tabs open and your body's running on straight caffeine and chaos, and you're just questioning if you accidentally signed up for the advanced course of being human. Yeah, because sometimes, same. Like I have my brain juggling this to-do list and then my existential dread and then the fact that I haven't folded my laundry from last week. And then it hits me like, wow, I am absolutely not the main character in my own mind right now. I'm just like a frantic extra running around someone else's set. And so then that's whenever I feel like I realized sometimes I just be reacting to life instead of observing it. And I think we all are guilty of doing that sometimes. So let's talk about what it means to become the observer and to find that clarity, that inner calm, that little pocket of peace whenever everything feels like it's spinning around you. I just want to share a little bit of how to pull yourself out of that chaos and start seeing things more clearly again, and just without turning into some sort of a detached robot or some monk on a mountain. I mean, unless that's your thing, no judgment. But yeah, I feel like being the observer doesn't mean sitting on a mountaintop chanting while your problems just dissolve in the mist, because if only. But it's more about awareness and just learning to step outside of your emotions long enough to see them instead of being them, which is definitely easier said than done. But I definitely think that with practice, you master certain skills, and this is definitely one of them. So whenever you become the observer, you start realizing, oh, I'm not anger, I'm just feeling anger. Oh, I'm not anxiousness, I'm experiencing it. It's it's a simple shift, but it's powerful. And when we stop identifying with every storm that passes through our minds, we stop being tossed around by them. Or imagine it like shifting from being a wave to being the ocean. The ocean just watches the waves rise and fall. So, yeah, think of it like, yeah, you are the ocean. Your thoughts and emotions are the waves. And waves, again, they rise, they fall, they crash. And yeah, waves get a little dramatic sometimes too, let's be honest. But the ocean always remains. And I know this is a cute little metaphor. It is a little poetic. I'm good at that. But it's also scientific. I like to find the reality in my expressions. So when you think about it in the scientific way, you think about how ocean waves are created whenever energy transfers through the water. They're literally disturbances, temporary movements on the surface. But the ocean, the body of water beneath, it stays stable. It has depth, it has layers, it has an entire ecosystem operating beneath the chaos at the surface. Your mind works the same way, guys. Neuroscientists have found that a single emotional reaction like stress or anxiety triggers a surge of activity in the amygdala. And that usually lasts about 90 seconds unless you feed it with more thoughts. That means the initial wave of emotion is short lived. We are the ones that keep recirculating the storm. So, this is whenever becoming the observer actually works. When you identify as the ocean, when you become the ocean, not the wave, you activate the brain's default mode network. That's the system that basically steps back, it zooms out, and it creates perspective. Mindfulness, it trains this part of the brain, and studies consistently show that regular observer mode practice improves emotional regulation, and it reduces the reactivity that we tend to have, and it even lowers overall cortisol levels. So I think the really cool part of all that is that even real waves don't travel the way you think they do. Most waves, they don't move forward. The energy moves forward. The water mostly moves in a circular pattern and it returns right back to where it started. So tell me, that's not the most poetic science ever. Your thoughts literally do the same thing. They loop, return, recycle, pass through. You just feel like you're being carried away because you're identifying with the movement instead of the depth beneath it. And the real ocean waves, they always return to calm. And that's nature. That's physics. And at the end of the day, you got to accept it because that's you too. So when you stop fighting the waves, when you simply watch them rise, fall, repeat, you start realizing that your inner stability was there the whole time. That's the observer right there, guys. And that is the ocean mind. That's the place where clarity finally comes in. And yeah, basically, being the observer means you stop identifying with every thought that pops up like some sort of uninvited guest or something like that. You see it and you name it. You don't let it unpack and move in. And I know we live in an age designed to steal our attention every chance it gets. Seriously, like everything screams for it. The apps, the headlines, constant comparison. I know I've talked about it many, many times on this podcast. But our brains get rewarded for reactivity. A like, an alert, a rush of a shared outrage. That pattern trains us to move quickly from stimulus to reaction without ever really checking in. And once you're on that loop, you lose perspective. You begin to react with old habits, old fears, and you just forget that you have any choice at all, any autonomy, excuse me. So I think that learning to observe is honestly a way of rebelling against that. And it's saying, like, I won't be hijacked by all this noise. I'll just sit back and make some space. Because, I feel like we all go through phases in life. Sometimes when it's more overwhelming in the season that we're in, when our minds almost feel like a stadium, I guess you can compare it to. And it's like every single thought that we have is on a loudspeaker and you can't even tune into your own soul because you have opinions, notifications, everyone else's expectations. And before you can even brush your teeth, you're already carrying someone else's weather system, per se. And I just think it's wild. We wake up and we just start to instantly absorb the world like we're some sort of emotional sponge. Like one scroll and you're suddenly comparing your Tuesday morning to someone else's sunrise in Bali or whatever. And so it's like, no wonder our brains feel like all of those browser windows with multiple tabs are open and that one of them is definitely playing some music that we can't even find. So, that's where this whole observer thing clicked for me. I had read this book. I don't know if I have talked about it before on this podcast. I probably have because it's one that has stuck with me so sincerely since the very beginning. I read it well over a decade ago now. But it's called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And something stuck with me in that book. He talks about how most of our suffering doesn't come from what is happening, but from the story, the narrative that we are telling ourselves about what is happening. And so that really hit me and it made me really think like, okay, I'm not just stressed. I'm stressed about being stressed. And maybe I'm not just anxious, but I'm anxious because I'm judging myself for the anxiety. So like I'm basically causing myself to suffer twice. Like I've got some sort of, I don't know, emotional buy one, get one deal or something. It is Black Friday, whatever. It's around the time. I think it's going to already pass by the time you guys listen to this. But anyway, so anywho, yeah. Toll says something along the lines of, you are the sky, but everything else, it's just the weather. I think that's how he says it, but something along those lines. And I swear that phrase rearranged my brain chemistry, because we really do forget that we're not the storm. We're just the space it passes through. And as I looked more into it for this episode, I noticed that even ancient philosophy backs this up. The Stoics, especially Marcus Aurelius. I don't know if I'm spelling his or pronouncing his last name correctly, but he had this whole practice of observing thoughts like an outsider. He literally wrote in his journal, which I think is now some sort of book of meditations or something. But he wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Like, imagine being emperor of Rome and still reminding yourself to just chill out. So if this guy Marcus can do it, I mean, surely we can, right? So between Toll and the Stoic philosophy, and if I'm just being frank, the brutal honesty of my own overactive brain, I realized something. I seem to many times have been reacting to life instead of just witnessing it, observing it, living from the storm instead of the sky. And, you know, I tend to absorb everything like it is my responsibility instead of just noticing it like, interesting. My brain is being a little dramatic again. So yeah, I think that is the switch to the observer perspective. It's not about necessarily detaching from life or going full on monk mode. It's just learning to step 1 inch outside of the chaos, just long enough to recognize it as chaos, not identity. And I think that realization truly does make everything feel a little lighter in life and a little less personal, a little bit more like, okay, maybe I don't need to spiral over this minor inconvenience. Maybe I can just breathe and watch it pass. Because we really have been trained to react instantly. Someone cuts you off in traffic, react. Someone posts something annoying, react. You feel uncomfortable for 0.2 seconds, react. We're just allergic to what I like to refer as stillness, and the internet's made it worse, I think. You know, everything's taking your attention away. I've already mentioned that before. So yeah, we're just constantly reacting, and we forget that we can just choose our response. But being the observer, as the observer, you remember that. The observer hits pause. So you don't allow your emotions to hijack your logic. And you can still love someone and still not react to every text. You can still feel sad without declaring your life is falling apart. Observing just gives you that power, the kind that doesn't, need to be all in your face. It just knows. It's not about escaping chaos or uncomfortability or anything like that. It's just realizing that you don't have to be consumed by it. Just watch it. Just take a beat before responding, before yelling into the void. Breathe. Like, actually breathe. Your brain can't think clearly if it is starving for oxygen. And when you think about it in that context, it really does make sense. Because when you take a deep, controlled breath, or multiple breaths, especially slow exhalations, you activate your parasympathetic nervous system. And that is part of your body responsible for that rest and digest, which is the chill counterpart to the fight or flight that we've all heard of. whenever I was doing my research, according to this amazing Stanford neuroscientist that I enjoy listening to myself, Dr. Andrew Huberman, even just one deep breath, an inhale followed by a longer exhale, can reduce stress levels and signal safety to your brain. It literally tells your nervous system, we're okay. You're okay. And there was this other study that I noted down from Harvard Medical School that found that mindful breathing can lower heart rate, reduce blood pressure, and even enhance emotional regulation. So basically, breathing is your free built-in therapist. So, let's be honest. I mean, I know real therapy could still be a great call for some, but why not, use it to your advantage? Breathe and tune in. So next time you're spiraling, before you text your friend that the world is ending, just try this. Inhale deeply for 4 seconds, hold for 2, and exhale for 6. And you'll feel your mind start to settle. And that is your body whispering, like, don't doubt yourself. We've got this. I think one of the biggest lessons I've learned in life, which I always like to share my personal lessons that I feel like I gained from this whole living experience. But I think one of those lessons is you can't control everything that happens, but you surely can control how much of it you absorb and how much you let it affect you ultimately. I remember one morning I was late for work and my hair looked like I lost a fight with humidity. And like someone cut me off in traffic. And my instant thought was like, why is everyone out to ruin my life today? But then I caught myself and I like kind of giggled a little because I'm not that important. The universe is not conspiring against me. I was simply just tired and cranky. But yeah, I feel like that laugh was just me slipping into that observer role that I've been talking about on this episode. And that was me doing that without even really realizing it. Instead of spiraling, I saw myself more clearly, just, a frustrated human having a moment. And that is what clarity looks like sometimes. Being able to laugh at yourself mid meltdown, and just, accept that and move on. So I feel like we can all take the advice to just take a moment, take a step back, see things from a broader perspective. So next time you may feel something heavy, whether that be anger, any sort of anxiety, jealousy, maybe, say, okay, I see you. There you are. Don't say I am angry or I am jealous or whatever. I don't know. Say I notice anger. And that subtle difference in that narrative, it changes you from being inside the feeling to just watching it happen in that instant space. An instant perspective gives you a whole broader view. So yeah, instead of just asking what's wrong with me, try, that's interesting. Why did it bother me so much? Curiosity is compassion in disguise. So, like me running on poor sleep in that traffic meltdown situation. Sometimes the world is loud, guys, and people project all the time. We do it ourselves. I'm sure, everyone listening has done it. We're all guilty. We're all human. We're all growing, hopefully intending to be better and better every day. Again, social media overwhelms. You might scroll and suddenly feel like your life is 10 steps behind someone else's. And then before you know it, you're pulling yourself down into that self-doubt and comparison. But then that's whenever you practice this lesson and you pause and you say, okay, like this feeling isn't me. It's just passing through. Again, it happens to all of us. We're all human. You don't have to delete social media I'm not saying that, but just unplug sometimes for sanity's sake. Just put it down sometimes. Go outside, touch grass, feel the sun, romanticize your grocery store run. Because our nervous systems deserve a break from everyone else's highlight reel. And becoming the observer doesn't mean disconnecting from it all, from life and everything. It's just about engaging differently. Another way to picture it is like your mind is a busy street and the cars are thoughts and feelings. And the observer is the person on the sidewalk just watching them pass without chasing any of them. This practice doesn't necessarily make you unfeeling. Definitely far from it. It makes you more present, more discerning, more capable of choosing how you want to move through this world. So yeah, try it while you're sipping your morning coffee. Feel that warmth of the cup. Feel the aroma, the present moment. And bonus points if it's coffee from Cup of Joe to go. Shout out to my second home. Or I feel like I've talked about these things, just like the presence, feeling the presence of your moment that you're in. Like when you're walking your dog, instead of scrolling on your phone and rushing, try to put the phone down, notice the world around you, the way that, nature looks and feels, the rhythm of your steps. Tune into all of those things because that's where you find yourself being present, and that is mindfulness in motion, to say the least. These little tiny acts of presence just remind your brain that life isn't something to control. It's just something to witness. Back to, the core of this episode's message. Yeah, just, participate in life without drowning in it, and shift from reacting to everything to actually experiencing it. I feel like there is a misconception that this practice doesn't, like, it can make you feel detached or whatnot, but I don't think that's the case. I think if anything, it makes you more present, more grounded, and just simply more intentional about what actually deserves your energy. Yeah. And when you start to experience the world like that, I feel like moment by moment, instead of crisis by crisis, you start to realize something important. You know, life was never meant to be controlled. Like I said before, it's meant to be witnessed. It's meant for that. It's meant to be observed and lived through, not overthought through. So yeah, again, becoming the observer is not you becoming some emotional robot who just watches life like, yes, sadness, interesting. It's not emotional suppression. I just want to reiterate this, and just go through some clarifications because I want my message to be clear. I definitely don't think it's bottling things up until you explode at the grocery store randomly one day on someone. It's really just this, feeling things fully with presence, but without letting them pull you down like there's some sort of anchor tied to your feet or something. And it's not you becoming passive either. Observing doesn't mean you suddenly let everything slide or you stop caring. It just helps you act better because you're responding, not reacting like you're being chased or something. And yeah, I said it before, but it does take practice, lots of practice, because our brains have probably been spending years being dramatic. So it's not going to just calm down because you journaled once, even though journaling is very beneficial and I definitely recommend to anybody. But the thing is, clarity doesn't come from being a control freak and controlling everything around you. If it did, we'd all be zen by now. It just comes from quieting the noise that's inside you, even just a little bit. And sometimes it's just recognizing, like, okay, I'm overstimulated, underslept, and probably one coffee away from my villain era. But that awareness alone is huge. And when all else fails, just write down your thoughts. Like you're just some sort of scientist observing a weird little creature, that weird little creature being you. Like, subject became irrationally angry at spilled coffee. Possible cause: sleep deprivation. A recommended treatment: snack immediately. I know it sounds so dumb, but maybe suddenly your feelings look kind of cute on paper. You just stop taking everything so personally. That's my thing. You just realize your brain is, it's trying its best, but it's also being a little unhinged, which is totally relatable. The real magic is just when you start observing instead of absorbing everything, you realize you don't have to fight the chaos. You can literally just sit back, sip on your drink, watch it pass, like a cloud. I've made that reference before. I just like it because, yeah. But yeah, you just watch it pass like a cloud that was doing way too much for no reason, you know? You stop assuming that every thought is true, because it's not. And you just stop assuming that every mood is permanent, because we all know it's not. And you just stop assuming that every inconvenience is your whole world falling apart. You start hearing your actual self, the voice underneath the noise that's quietly like, girl or boy, we're okay. Chill. So when life feels too loud, don't fix it. Just pause. Hit the pause button, guys. Step to the side and let the moment be messy without letting it swallow you whole. And when chaos shows up, because of course it will, it's basically a roommate in all of our lives, just try something different. Again, take a breath. Take that breath and watch what happens. Watch the storm instead of becoming it. Or be the ocean, like I said before, not the wave. Or there's another one. There's another saying that goes, you can't stop the waves, but you can learn to surf. Or at the bare minimum, with that analogy, you can just like float on your back at the very least, like a little lazy sea otter with your little latte, and let the universe just chill out for a second. I don't know, that was really silly, but it's fun to think about life in these ways. This is why and how I honestly get a lot of my ideas for poetry and stuff like that. I love metaphors. I love analogies. I love words and language. So yeah, as you listen to these podcasts, you probably have gained many silly little sayings. So yeah, you're welcome if that's enhanced your life any bit. But anyway, so as we wrap up today, I just want you to remember, you don't have to master anything. You don't have to try to fix yourself. And yeah, you definitely don't have to become some enlightened monk by Thursday. Just try noticing. That's it. Just notice. Notice the moment that your thoughts start spiraling. Notice the tension in your shoulders. Notice the story your mind is trying to tell you. And then, with as much gentleness as you can, because I'm telling you guys, we need this. We need to give ourselves grace. But step back 1 inch. And you'll realize that inch is everything. Because that little bit of distance, that is where your peace and clarity live. That's where you live, underneath all that noise and underneath all the waves. You're not here to control the storm. You're here to remember that you are the ocean. And the more you come back to that, even for tiny moments throughout your day, the more life starts feeling softer and a little slower. and less chaotic and more like something you're actually moving through with intention. And honestly, that is enough. So yeah, next time life throws one of its signature plot twists at you, because, that'll always happen, just pause. And yeah, that's all you need to do. Just pause and remind yourself, I'm watching this, I'm not this. Yeah, you've got all the tools, you've got the awareness. Now it's just time to practice. Yeah, we all need to sometimes just realize that we have that capability to come back home to ourselves over and over again, because sometimes life will try to pull us away from ourselves. So yeah, that's basically all I have to say for this episode. I just want to say thank you before I end this one for being here with me today and through this journey of the podcast and the brand and its growth. If this episode helped you realize something or made you feel a little less alone in your humanness, I'd love it if you would share it with someone who might need it too, or give it a little love. Share your comments, your thoughts. I'm all about human interaction and connection. That is why I do this. And yeah, as always, keep taking the journey intentionally, gently, and try to do it with as much compassion for every version of you that's gotten you this far. Until next time, guys, breathe, observe, and simply be the ocean.